So much of this is about is finding ways to shift that programming, to let go of those are just beliefs, to let go of those beliefs, okay, to incorporate new beliefs, to find a way to love yourself unconditionally, so that programming that's not there, it's not present anymore. I mean, I think for many people, when people distract themselves, they're able to avoid facing their issues, whatever they might be. And when they're not distracted, when they're alone, this is when stuff comes up. This is why people typically eat or keep themselves occupied and don't just sit and be because they can't handle that. I don't think that's really so uncommon. But whether it's common or uncommon, the answer is the same. What's needed is to take a look at the existing programming and decide whether it's something you want to hang on to or not. And if it's not, it's to let it go, to incorporate new beliefs. You shift your belief system. This is something we can do. It's not easy to do, but it can be done. We can do this, and this is what the job is, right? Our job is to take a look at what we've been walking around believing our whole lives. And honestly, it's not that you can necessarily flip a switch and turn these things off. Okay, I was 50, 10 years ago. I took a course, realized I'd walked around my whole life believing I wasn't lovable. I was never conscious of that belief until 10 years ago. Okay, now I'm conscious of it. I've worked on it. It's still there. The difference is that when it rears its ugly head, I go, I know you. That's not true. Okay? Now, that only works when I'm conscious. When my buttons are pushed and I'm running on autopilot, I'm not capable of having that conversation. When I most need it, it's not available to me. But sometimes what happens is however that gets played out, and then I have the presence to sit and say, okay, now let's see what was going on there. Oh, right, it's that again. Okay? So we can improve. We can start to move towards another way of being. As we discussed last night, maybe we're never going to become conscious all the time. Who is?
Perfect.
Who is? Right? I don't know of anyone who is. I doubt your guru, whoever your guru is, I doubt they are. I mean, we're all humans. We're all fallible. We're all doing the best we can. We're all dealing with the same deep programming. Most of us, virtually everyone I've worked with more than 15,000 clients in the last 30 years. Virtually everybody is clearly dealing with this kind of disempowering programming. Okay? It's deeply embedded. Most people are completely not conscious of it. Again, it took me 50 years to become conscious of mine. And a lot of people never get there. Okay? So, how does this happen? Well, we all came by it honestly. Okay? We inherited it. It was given to us by our parents. Right? Your parents love you, I promise you, as well as they were able to. But it's very unlikely that most or any of us here actually got the one thing that every little child really needs: unconditional love. And if your parents didn't give it to you, and they probably didn't, it's because they didn't have it to give to you. Right? Well, how come your parents didn't give you $1 billion? They didn't have it. Right? They can't give you something they don't have. They didn't have it because they never got it, and they didn't learn to develop it for themselves. I mean, again, this is why for 18 years I'm sharing Love Without Conditions, how to begin fostering unconditional love for yourself. It's critically important work. I wish you guys were here, more of you. I know some people are in bed by 7 o'clock. But this is why this is so important. Through most of human history, human beings have been focused on trying to keep enough food on the table, a roof over their family's head. They didn't have the luxury of contemplating their belly buttons. Okay, we do. Okay, we're among the first generations on the planet where en masse we have the freedom, the time to actually think about this stuff. And what do most people do? They keep themselves plugged into something, a screen in their face all the time, so they don't have to deal with their issues. It's not particularly useful if what you want is to become more conscious. That doesn't get you very far. Okay? So this is how it happens, and it happens to everyone. And I'll give you, there's so many examples. I mean, we know, for instance, that children of alcoholics are much more likely to become alcoholics. Children of abusers are much more likely to become abusers. That's what happens. It requires being conscious enough to shift that. Probably every one of us, as an adolescent, said, I never want to be like my fill in the blank, mother, father. And then 10 years later looked in the mirror one day and said, holy crap, I've become my mother or father. Okay? Because unless we're conscious enough, and how many people are conscious enough at that age, we will become what was modeled for us. That's what happens. We can shift it, but we have to bring a high level of consciousness to it or it's not going to happen. Okay? So this is how it is what it is. This is how it becomes what it becomes. And it happens to almost every one of us. And our job is to be conscious enough to begin to undo that. Okay? To heal. That's our job. That's what we're here for, perhaps. Okay? We can do it. But it's not easy, A, because the programming is deep, and B, it may take our entire lifetime, maybe more than one lifetime. Okay? But what if we can just become a little bit more conscious every day? Okay? What if every year we can become a little bit more conscious? Okay, that's a win. That's a gain. Remember, it's about the journey. It's not about arriving at a destination. At some chapter in this book, it said, there's no rush. I mean, the destination's assured. Everyone's going to evolve. Everyone's going to become enlightened. It's a question of when. Maybe there's people here that need maybe this is their last lifetime. Maybe other people need 400 more lifetimes to get there. Doesn't matter. But here's the thing. Until we get there, life tends to be more painful. Right? Because we're wounded by the things that come up. If we were enlightened, would we be wounded when those things happened? No. Again, what other people think of me is none of my business. Okay? So, whatever's going on, and whatever's going on for those people who don't have problems with what other people think of them, but still have issues with what's going on inside, yeah, same thing. Okay, if we're fully enlightened, what that means is we love ourselves unconditionally, as we should, because we're part of the divine creative energy of the universe. We're part of that energy. We're not separate from it. Okay? So how do we do that? Well, we start by staying as conscious as possible in every moment. How many of you know Thich Nhat Hanh, his work? Amazing. Thich Nhat Hanh created a community in France called Plum Village. And in the nearby town there was a church with a bell that rang every hour. And Thich Nhat Hanh said every time the church bell rang, it reminded him to be fully conscious. Because it's easy for us to forget. It's easy for us to get caught up in the drama of life. Did you hear what she said to me? Did you see how he looked at me? Can you believe what he did? Right? Does any of that matter? Does any of that have to affect us? It doesn't. It may well affect us because we're not there yet. When we're conscious enough, we recognize that we always get to choose how to respond. The problem is that we're mostly not responding. Okay? Most of you were here yesterday afternoon for the presentation on Las Cascadas. I don't know if you noticed, but I rolled the TV out, I plugged it in, and then I hit a button on the remote, and what happened? What happened? The screen came on. Did it get to choose? No. It's a reaction. It's a programmed response. And most of us are walking around exactly the same way. Okay? Someone says something to you, there's a programmed response. You're not choosing. Okay? We talked once before about taking full responsibility for everything that shows up. Being responsible is being able to respond. Most of us aren't able to do that all the time. We still react to things. Why do we react? What's going on there? Anyone?
Fear.
What are we afraid of?
Whatever it is that we were talking.
Okay. Anybody else? Why are we reacting when someone says something to us?
Because we're full of pressure cookers of rage and resentment and projection and our whole life.
I think I'm going to translate. Jessica said we're fucked up, basically. Yeah, we still have all the stuff that's unresolved.
Yeah.
Okay? So when someone says something to us, we make it mean something and we agree with that. We take it as if we're being attacked, and what happens is we agree with it. Okay? That's what affects us. It's what we're invested in, what we agree with. Okay? If we truly know that's nonsense, it has no impact on us. Zero impact on us. Every day, for at least 10 years now online, my YouTube channel's 10 years old, every day someone tells me I'm an idiot. At least once a day.
Yeah, I see.
Okay? Does anybody think that affects me?
I don't think so.
It doesn't really affect me because I'm pretty clear I'm not an idiot. Okay? But there are other things you can say to me that will affect me much more because there are things I'm less confident about. Okay? So if I know it's not true, it has no impact on me. But if I agree maybe it's true, then it's going to hurt. Our job is to look at those places. It's not what anyone else believes, it's what we believe. Okay, am I less than because of this or that? Okay, when I was a kid, it was because my nose was too big or my hair was too curly. It's hard to believe I had curly hair, isn't it? But I did. I used to get out of the shower every day and put a knit cap on to make my hair straight. Okay, our job is to find a way to fully accept ourselves, every single aspect of ourselves. And that doesn't mean we can't grow. It doesn't mean it's good enough. But it means that I'm okay as I am right now. And I'm always going to work to do better. To be kinder. To be more loving. To be more gentle. Okay, those two things can coexist. Some people think they can't. Okay, but we want to be really clear. It's never what the other person says or does. It's how we interact with that. That's what we have to be looking at. And this is why it always comes right back to the same place. It's not, why are you pushing my buttons? It's, why do I still have that button? Mm-hmm. What do I need to do to unwire the button so it's no longer functions? Okay? To get to the place where anybody could say anything and you would simply continue to gaze at that person with unconditional love, knowing that the only person who would attack that way is someone who's deeply injured, deeply hurting. And the only reason that many of us, I won't speak for anyone else, I'll speak for myself, that I'm not always capable of doing that, is because I still have my own stuff to deal with, that gets triggered. But it's not their anything. It's me. It always is. So that's the place to look. That's what we're here to do. Questions, anyone, about any of this?
Yeah, I found, for me at least, that it's a process of uncovering, discovering, and then discarding. But then once you do, you now find new things that have been buried as well. And so it's a process, it's not an event.
It's a process, not an event. Yeah. You're not going to go to a weekend seminar and come back completely fine. That ain't going to happen. Okay? If you've ever done one of those weekends,
Yeah.
I remember the first one, I remember coming out of it thinking, oh, thank God I got that handled. And 6 months later did another similar kind. I was like, there it is again. What the heck?
Yeah.
Right? You've heard this before. It's like peeling an onion. There's layer after layer. Okay? We may not resolve these things in this lifetime. That's okay. It's okay. Again, the goal isn't to be perfect.
Right.
The goal is to continue to do the best we can while learning and growing, improving all the time.
I think it's also really important not to see these things as things to be rejected or got rid of or discarded, because they are a part of you, and there's that what you resist persists, and what you're pushing against you're stuck to forever. So
Right.
it's that welcoming in and accepting of that.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Yeah, it's not about rejecting something. This is part of you. This is you, right? Instead, what you want to do, right? What she said was, "What you resist persists." It's very true. So instead, what we do is we just notice, and we sit with it. Oh, isn't that interesting? I get angry when that happens, and I just sit with that. I breathe into that.
And also welcome it in. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that young part of myself is fearful right now. Or
Right.
judging myself.
That's right. I mean, ultimately, this is coming up because there is some fear present. There's some unresolved thing there. That's okay. Right? This isn't about judging yourself. I shouldn't be that way.
Exactly.
No, this is how it is, and it's perfectly okay. And we can perhaps grow so that it becomes less prominent, less prevalent, comes up less often. Hi, enjoying my videos? If you'd like to learn much more, check out the Academy for Vibrant Living, where our Vibrant Health course will teach you everything you need to know to take your health to an amazing new level. And if you'd like to turn your passion for health into a lucrative career, check out the Health Coaching course, where you can become a professional certified health coach and help as many people as possible see amazing results.